Hey, good evening. If you're watching live, welcome to episode 185 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with host me, Ben Wilson, at our trading cards. Steph, unfortunately, is not with us tonight. You can find him at Junk Wax Twins. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, and we hope to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. All cards tell a story. What stories do your cards tell? We are live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 9 Mountain. Steph's not here, so we're just going to forget about the Central Time Zone. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at About the Cards, and you can find us everywhere you can find a podcast the following day. So before we get into it, I want to offer our condolences and well wishes to the Loeffler family at this time of need. This past Sunday, January 9th, Steph's mom, Sherry, earned her angel wings. Our thoughts and prayers are with Steph, Angela, and Steph's dad, Brian, at this difficult time. So we have the guys from Mojo Break, Doug Caskey and Dan Anderson. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me this evening.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the show, man.
Yeah, one out of two is not bad.
Love the intro. I don't think I've seen. How long have you guys had that intro for?
Are you telling me this is the first time you've watched the show?
No, I have watched the show multiple times. How many episodes you guys on right now?
I just said it, Dan. It's
how many?
185. 185. All right.
185? I've seen like 182 of them.
Welcome.
I think I missed like 3 episodes.
Probably.
I'm good. Good for like $1.82.
I think Doug's been on 3 episodes. How, if I'm doing the math, that makes sense.
Yeah, number one guest. Yeah, totally.
That's right. So you guys still have the hype, right?
Favorite Mojo Breaker.
Yeah. Well, we know which one that is. It's the male model of the two.
Conrad. Thank you. Yeah.
Conrad. So you guys still doing the hype, right? Every Tuesday?
Every Wednesday. We just
Son
got, son of a gun. Yeah, we do it Wednesday. We don't do it live anymore. We used to do it live. We pre-record it, but we release it every Wednesday around 5-6 o'clock Pacific time.
Okay. That's all right. As long as it's already done and out of the way and we're not competing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're not taking over your time slot.
That's
we
why
we are right now. I feel like we had a different type of hype today. So Doug and I are back on, and it kind of feels like the hype with Ben.
It does. It's about the mojo.
I wouldn't know. I've never been invited.
Oh, dude, you could just come on down.
Anytime.
Come on down. We'll do it live.
I was in Santa Clara a few months ago, and I texted Doug, and I'm like, "Hey, it's a Saturday. I want to meet you in person finally." He goes, "No, I can't. We're closed for COVID." He goes, "Sorry." And I'm like, "Seriously? You can't meet me over at the In-N-Out Burger or something?" He's like, "No." Sorry.
Overrated burger? I know I couldn't.
Overrated burger.
It is.
No, yeah, that was like a year and a half ago, I think, right? That was a long time ago. In card years, that was like 500 releases ago, man. I mean, that's like ancient news.
Which 500 releases could have been just like 2 months ago, seriously.
But yeah, pretty much. Last week.
Except for this week. There's like literally nothing coming out this week. I have you guys on behind my laptop, and you guys have like nothing going on tonight, really. Couple breaks.
Yeah, we got a little Mosaic football came out today. We have what comes out a Friday? I think NT Racing.
Yeah, National Treasures Racing comes out Friday. It was supposed to be Prism Soccer, but it got pushed back. I think those printing presses are a little too hot right now, so you gotta let them cool down for a few weeks, and then there'll be a few more coming out after that.
That covers our whole new release section. We just kind of skip over that here in a little bit. So.
That's what we do.
So Dan, what do you actually PC, if anything? I mean,
what do I PC? Rams, Giants, and anybody who went to Stanford. Not that I went to Stanford. I'm just a fan of Stanford. Sean Mannion, big time. I mean, I think the Sean Mannion Super Collection is well known.
You and his mom. There's 2 of you.
Doug and I, a couple weeks ago, were like, we're going to retire. He started a Monday night game. I was like, well, it's all going to happen right now. These Mannions are going to be worth like tens of thousands of dollars.
We have every single one.
We have everyone.
I mean, he played on Monday. You guys could retire Tuesday as long as you only lived until Thursday, right?
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I collect. A lot of Bay Area. I don't get into the flavor of the week as much. I don't really play that game where if a player has a good week, I don't jump on and go like, I need all his cards, and I don't really do that. That's not really my style.
What a weirdo.
I know.
It's strange. It's strange.
I'm old school. I'm old school.
God, you're a unicorn. You say I collect Bay Area, but I obviously I didn't hear one specific team in the Bay Area that you neglected, which it's obviously the best Bay Area team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're the Oakland Athletics. I get it. I don't dislike the A's. If the A's are in the playoffs, I'll 100% root for them. I'm just not going to collect them.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
fair enough. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I try.
If he did, it would be Terry Steinbach. He's a big fan.
Terry Steinbach, Mike Gallego, Walt Weiss.
Walt Weiss. Yeah, the 89.
Walt Weiss.
89 year.
We love Steinbach. My aunt, who unfortunately is no longer with us, she was a big Steinbach fan. So I grew up, big Steinbach. Obviously, he's from Minnesota and played for the Twins. So Steph is too. So Steinbach is a much beloved individual and player on our podcast.
Yeah.
If I had a PC and A's player, it'd be Carney Lansford because I met Carney's from around the block here. One of the fields is named after him over here, and I met him as a kid. He was a really, really cool dude. So if I had to pick one, it'd be Carney Lansford. There's not a lot of Carney Lansford autos out there, though. So.
There's not. He came out in fan favorites a couple of years ago, I think 2019 or something like that. And the only good reason that Archives exists is for the fan favorite autos, which you can.
What's the most obscure A's auto you have in your collection, Ben?
Probably some random minor leaguer. I'd have to check my A's database. Yeah. So some minor leaguer. I was actually gifted a bunch of minor league cards one year, and somebody's like, "Hey, take all this stuff off my hands," and most of them are autographed. And I'm like, never heard of any of these guys, right? They're mostly played in the mid '80s. I think the minor league sets were from the late '80s.
Was it Geronimo Baroa? Got any?
Shoot, man, that guy was good for these 2 seasons. It's funny how we misremember careers, like when I was like Brent Gates and Lance Blankenship. These guys were the thing, and then you go back and look at their stats, and you're like, they weren't really that good,
right?
Yeah.
When you were 9, it was like, Matt Major in the says Ron Hasse was better than Steinbach. I met
Ron Hasse.
I met Hasse at an Albertsons up in Sacramento, and I was like, you know what? Ron Hasse is a cool dude. Why? Because I met him at Albertsons. That's it.
It makes him cool. That's exactly. It's those stories that turn these guys into superstars, man.
Yeah, I got to stand next to him, and perhaps he sweated in my general direction, and he played for the A's, and I was 11, and that's all it took.
Yep.
Fan for life. So what are your guys' thoughts on the Fanatics acquisition, assuming it closes, as we all anticipated to do, and how do you think that affects the long-term outlook for not just Mojo Break, but breakers in general?
Start, Dan.
Oh, you're gonna let me go in.
It goes in sequence. It goes.
All right. Ben and I were talking about this before you got here a little bit. I think right now we're still in the speculation stage where everybody has an opinion of what's going to happen, but nobody actually knows. Nobody has a seat at the table. I think that if I was able to speculate, I would say distributors are probably in the worst position altogether. I think local card shops are going to be fine. I think breakers will adapt. I don't think the margin is going to be the same. I think you may be buying directly from Fanatics at maybe a slight discount than market. I think that they will figure out a way to capitalize on the secondary market. If that means only allowing X amount of product into, the marketplace at a time and then pumping the brakes on it letting it basically dry up and then maybe pushing some more out, maybe doing different waves of how they release the products. But again, that's me sitting here on a podcast speculating. I don't know, but that's my short answer.
Yeah, I think that's along the same lines. I think that they are going to print more low end than we've ever seen before. And I think they're going to do a good job of hopefully making the higher end a little bit more scarce. Where it comes into breakers, obviously what Dan said is the margins are probably going to be lower, which overall should be better for the community. The one thing I do worry about is this stuff, and this industry is built on hype. And are they going to be able to keep that going? Are they going to be able to keep people interested? I hope so. They are dabbling. They're dipping their toes in the water before they get baseball or before they get basketball and football. So we may see some trial and error with football or with baseball. But I'm excited overall as a collector that Topps will still live on in one shape or another. And a lot of my friends over at Topps still have gigs. For now, which is good. And I think that everybody was worried about that, as if Fanatics comes in and cleans house and puts all their own people in there. Those people still remain with jobs, so that's good. But I'm anxiously optimistic for the future now that we know that Topps is going to live on.
Yeah, I think from the end collector, not much will change, except for a little bit of legal jargon on the back of the card that'll probably have Fanatics name on it. But the designs, because they kept a lot of Topps, employees, the designs will probably be the same. A lot of the IP will be the same. The names will be the same. We'll just see how it's distributed will be different for sure.
So there'll be a lot more digital, I believe, where, again, I think the idea that it'll be a one-stop shop where they will have breakers, whether they buy breakers, were to acquire somebody, whether it be a Mojo break or another one of the large breakers, and bring that in-house.
Yeah. What's the offer?
I'll be able to go to fanatics.com. I can buy, or, Topps.com, buy Fanatics, and I can get into a break right there through the website. And then the cards will go into my digital wallet, my digital collection. I can transfer it to you guys. You guys can buy it from me. And again, they'll funnel a little bit off of every transaction. And I think that's really where they're going to start to make a lot of money behind the scenes. They're going to be making pennies there. They are going to invest heavily in trying to be, innovative and grow and scale. And then 3 years from now, they're going to drop an IPO on us. And it'll be $30-$40, and people will gobble it up. And for Fanatics will have the only game in town. I mean, you'll have Upper Deck, and you'll still have Panini perhaps, but the landscape will be.
And I thought of that too, Ben. But I think the biggest issue that we kind of have now in the community, and could get worse, is if one person is dealing with everything, we all will tend to believe a conspiracy theory of A, I hit this in a break. B, I didn't get enough money for what I thought I should sell it for. Employee at Fanatics only pulls good cards for X guy. I think when you have your hand, and that's why it's like good with the synergy that we have now, is that, there's a manufacturer, there's a breaker, and then there's an end consumer. If you tighten that all into one, then everybody's going to put a tinfoil hat on when something happens.
And that's where you get regulation.
Exactly.
And we've talked about that, because I know this podcast and my Twitter timeline will be the first thing subpoenaed if the SEC ever wants to get involved and talk about investing and regulation and all the different implications, just because I've been a very vocal person in those regards. And at some point, I think regulation to some capacity is going to come down the pipeline, especially if Fanatics decides that buying a card manufacturer and trying to bring that in-house is not the avenue they want to go to, and maybe try to buy me, because now we start to get into serious monopolistic laws and antitrust violations. And, who knows? Maybe Fanatics just wants to be able to bring that Topps IP in, because they are also an apparel brand. We've talked about Homage being one that sells T-shirts and stuff like that, the branding.
Mm-hmm. Yep, good shirts.
Fanatics is now going to bring that in-house and put them out of business, at least that portion of their their SKU catalog.
Well, would they still become a monopoly if they say they leased part of the license out to Panini and got 20-25% of said football, basketball sales after a certain period of time? Would that be still monopoly, or would that be a way of not being a monopoly?
Well, it wouldn't be a monopoly because you still have Leaf and Upper Deck. So
Right.
as long as you have multiple, at least as long as you have 3 or more entities, then that's where you get into the oligopoly.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a dual-opoly where you have 2. And usually, I don't know where the exact laws would sit here in our industry, but usually it's around 70% of any given, sodas, potato
Sure.
chips, cars, things like that. You have to have enough competition. And we have plenty of that. Topps is nowhere near that in market share. A lot of it depends on how they roll it out. And again, if Fanatics puts Topps is their brand, Fanatics is not making cards under their own name. I think that really all now comes down to a market share. And they're going to increase their market share because they organically have to. Look at what they've got. It's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
They've got all the licenses, and I don't know that they need Panini. What value does Panini have? The rated rookie logo, Prism,
Right.
Dondra?
The ability to have.
I don't.
NT.
I don't need NT. I got Transcendent.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the diverse, like I think there's value in letting the collectors choose, but that's why I don't think Fanatics buys Panini. I'm just saying, is there a scenario that maybe they could lease out and do some profit sharing and let them make their own product? But they get 25%
we've talked about that before with Upper Deck. Like, wouldn't it be great to have a LeBron patch auto in NT? Wouldn't it be great to have a Jordan patch auto in Immaculate, or LeBron auto in Flawless, like some of these ultra high-end premium cards? Why won't they just lease out those players to Panini? It's because it's their asset. Like that is their livelihood. They don't want to get into that. Like, in a perfect world for a consumer, that's what we want, but that's not in the best interest of.
Well, it's dealing with 2 players, dealing with a whole entire license is different. That's what I'm saying. It's like, Panini I'm assuming Panini is going to go forward just making the collegiate licenses and, their other UFC and whatever they have for licenses, and they're not going to be able to use the NFL and the NBA after a certain period of time. Wouldn't Fanatics be like, you're printing everything, we're just going to allow you to use the license and we're going to get a percentage off of it, and then you also still have that competition for collectors? I mean, it seems like it'd be pretty easy for Fanatics to make points on not really doing anything.
Just depends on if they want to, which is what it comes down to. And we saw the lawsuit recently. I think we mentioned it last week, where Upper Deck is suing a posters warehouse because they are selling posters of Michael Jordan. And so to protect the license that they have with him, they kind of have to sue this company, because if you were to go onto Posters Warehouse LLC, and I think is the name of the company, and buy a Michael Jordan poster, you're going to assume that it's an Upper Deck approved product.
Right.
And I mean, Doug, what you're saying about like give a manufacturer, 20 releases, 10 releases, whatever, sublease out the contract or the license, that's great and all that. But put it in our perspective, that's like us giving 10 cases of National Treasures and consigning it to a competitor and being like, here you go ahead and make money. We could have made money on it, but we're going to basically sublease it out to you because you maybe break it differently than we do.
Right. I guess the market would have to be as hot as it is now for that room for Fanatics to just be like, we can't make more than 50 basketball releases a year, so we're going to let Panini make 25 with the license. It'd have to be like undoable for them, I think.
I think the league would have to get involved and be like, we really like some of Panini's IP stuff. Can you work with them, Fanatics, and maybe figure out a way to release National Treasures or Immaculate or Flawless or Prism or something like that?
Right.
And I don't think they do that.
And I don't think the league really looks at it like that. They look at it as dollars and cents, and they don't really look at it as we really like this product.
Right. Yeah, and you don't want to you don't want to get your competitor any bigger than they are, right? By letting them survive.
Yeah.
At least in that regard with licensing.
So, how have some of the supply chain issues we've seen in the economy for the last, really 18 months or so, how has it affected Mojo Break, if it has at all? Because I'm assuming, we're talking about tonight, this week, release calendar gets pushed back. So does your break.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, I've learned that there's about 15 different type of top loader brands that I've never heard of before, because it seems like for the last 2 years, we've just been buying whatever we can get. I mean, I think I bought some from you, Ben. I mean, I think you have your own top loader brand. It seems like everybody does at this point. So just the biggest issue with us has been sleeves and team bags and top loaders. And initially it was like the cargo is being stuck and we can't get it. And this is like in the end of 2000, or this is the beginning of the pandy. And we're still facing the same thing. So I got to believe that there's some kind of effery going on to raise pricing on that stuff and make a false sense of demand because they know the industry's hot. Because there's no way after 2 years, we're still almost in the same scenario of not having plastic.
Well, the biggest problem is just from an economic standpoint, you have like the Port of Los Angeles, and it gets really convoluted. And without getting into all the details, I have mentioned it on a previous show, but you have a lot of these ships, these cargo ships out in the port where there was less than a 1 day turnaround to where they go in, they drop their load, they turn around, they're back to sea. And now there's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks. Cargo ships are sitting there, and it's really not even that they can't be offloaded. There's just no equipment. Because a lot of this equipment on that port is owned by, let's say it's owned by Dan, and he's anticipating he's not going to give it to Ben or Doug, because what happens if his load comes in and he needs it? The simple thing would be, hey, Dan, you're not anticipating anything today. Let me use it today. I'll give you some money. He makes a little money for equipment that is literally just dead right now. It's not being used, but he doesn't want to do that because on the off chance. So nobody was playing nicely at the Port of LA. There's like the Port of Virginia, which owns all of their equipment and was seen as an archaic system for years, but they're running into issues as well. They're a lot cleaner over there. So it gets extremely economic and convoluted with how some of this stuff is playing out. But the bottom line is it's causing all types of supply chain issues.
I know that the cargoes were like double, right? They're like 3,500 and now it's like 6,000. So there's all that factoring into some of the costs of that stuff.
Yeah, it's hopefully it's getting better. It looks like it's loosening a little bit, but again, just like the economic bubble in the hobby, where people are like, "Oh, the bubble's bursting." It's like the bubble burst well over a year ago, but it's going to take 2 to 3 years for us to really see this bleed out. And a lot of stuff regress to the mean and settle. And, we saw it during the original junk wax era where 91 and 92 was just all over the place. And by 94, 95 is when it really started to settle. And a lot of people are like, oh, the baseball strike. And it's like, there's other variables too. I mean, the three of us are about the same age, girls in college and new interests. We were a big portion of the market as far as the consumer goes, and we all kind of got bored with the hobby and found other interests, and now you have all of these sellers who have nobody to sell to. And
I think the last pack I bought, and it's funny that you mentioned it, I think the last pack I bought was like in 93, and then I didn't buy another pack again until about 2009. So and that kind of falls right into that.
Now you buy cases. Buy the cargo load.
I remember chasing that 93 Stadium Club first day issue, and I think I got like a Joe Carter, and I was stoked, and it's became worth nothing. But 93, my last hurrah, 93 Stadium Club back when I was a kid.
All right, so let's change pace if you guys don't have any follow-ups with that stuff. Considering your hobby related profession, how about a quick rundown of the 2021 NFL quarterbacks? We talk about their long-term prospects in the hobby. If you guys both want to give like 30 seconds a piece on, we'll go in order as they were picked last year. We'll just cover the first and second round guys. So 30 seconds, buy, sell, hold. Trevor Lawrence, Jaguars.
I'm holding Trevor Lawrence, and we talked about it earlier today. Nothing better than the number one pick ending a rookie season on a high note. And the speculation going into the offseason, new coach, new system, all that stuff. But the one thing is that he ended the season on a win and a pretty big upset against the Colts, and he looked good. So I'm holding and even buying. I think if you don't buy right now and you wait until training camp starts, it's too late. So,
yeah, I mean, he kind of took the words exactly out of my mouth. If you would have asked me last week, I would have said sell, because I feel like he had no confidence. He's getting a new coach next year. He's going to have a great off-season program. I'm sure whoever gets in there, they're going to have some signings, some picks, and the confidence he had. He looked great. I mean, that hike that got bobbled, and then he threw a touchdown. I mean, in the back of the end zone, it seems like he's kind of getting it. It's kind of feeling like that Peyton Manning first season again, and when he went into that next season and he started winning. So yeah, I'm definitely buying.
Okay, so round 1, pick 2, Zach Wilson to the Jets. We buy, sell, hold.
I'm going sell. I just don't believe in the system, even though Robert Saleh was a great defensive mind for the 49ers. I think they're a few years away. He threw a lot of picks. I'm selling.
I'm selling. He looked pretty lost out there. Yeah, I'm definitely selling on that.
Okay, number 3 overall pick, Trey Lance to the 49ers. And I got to follow up with you, Doug. After he is a
scrub. Next.
I'm buying Trey Lance. Obviously, the team is won 7 out of their last 9 games. Jimmy will not be there next year. Trey Lance will start. His prices are going to start rising in the offseason. It's good time to get him now. Probably already high. But the guy has all the intangibles, has everything on paper of what needs to be a star in Shanahan's multi-dimensional offense. I'm buying.
He's just a higher drafted version of Geno Smith, dude.
Shanahan is a below 500 coach.
Not against the Rams. Not against the Rams.
But if he did, I mean, yeah, he would be absolutely the GOAT of all coaches if he played the Rams 16 times a year or 17. But yeah, I mean, whatever. I get why you would want to buy Lance right now, because he obviously is going to be the guy next year.
On a team that's poised to win now, based on the talent and the contracts that we have in place.
Debatable. You guys barely snuck into the playoffs.
That's true. Barely.
I was 7 out of the last 9.
My follow-up question was going to be, what does Garoppolo need to do to keep that job? I mean, if he gets you guys to the NFC Conference Championship, let alone a Super Bowl, I mean, he doesn't come back.
He's gone. If he wins the Super Bowl, he's gone.
I think Doug's right. I think there is, in no scenario does Garoppolo come back to the Niners.
Unless he takes some kind of a pay cut, but like they've mortgaged so much on Lance that they're going in with Lance next year. I mean, if they get him to win the Super Bowl, they may. It's right now. It's supposedly a 3rd round pick we're going to get. You might be able to get a 2nd or a 1st if he wins the Super Bowl. Maybe nobody's given
a 1st round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Probably not. Maybe
no. And the thing is, really, you got to capitalize on that rookie contract while you have it.
That's what it is. You got Bosa. You got to remember Bosa and Debo drafted in 2019, so that contract's coming up. So
yeah, you're going to offset it by. There was a great article years ago. You can probably Google it on ESPN.com. I'm pretty sure is where it was written about it, whether or not a team would benefit from cycling their quarterback every 4 years on rookie contracts and just building a powerhouse team. And the guy that they said might just have enough cojones to do it was McVay. Yeah. I'll take Goff for 4 years. I'll get rid of Goff. I'll bring in, Davis, and then Davis comes in, and then Thomas comes in 4 years after that. And I'm just going to build the Donalds and the Ramseys, and that's how I'm going to build my team. And as soon as he's ready for a contract extension, let somebody else pay that guy, bring in somebody else. And I don't know that there's enough security in your job, even if you are McVay. But, Sean Payton perhaps is another one that could have done it. But
Yeah, I mean, you see the teams that have suffered. You can say the Seahawks are suffering right now with that Wilson contract. Obviously, the Ravens, until they got Lamar Jackson, had to pay Flacco after that Super Bowl, and you just don't have money to sign anybody unless you're a team that's people take pay cuts. Like if you have Brady and you're able to get guys to take pay cuts, it's just not going to happen.
But now you got to pay Baker Mayfield. You got to pay Lamar Jackson. Are you certain that these guys at 20% of your salary cap are you're paying $40 million? Are you sure that that's the guy? Because if you're not, I mean, look at Mahomes. We were ready to write him off at the beginning of the year when he's throwing 13 interceptions, and it's like that offensive line can't keep him upright. You know what? That's the way it goes. This guy making $20 million a year, you can pay 2 offensive linemen.
Yep.
But he makes 40. Guess what? Sorry, left guard, right guard, center. You're out of here, buddy.
Yep.
Right.
This is the way it is. And then you have to pay Tyreek Hill, and you got to pay Kelsey, and you've got to pay Chris Jones, and you've got to pay Tyrann Mathieu. And next thing you know, you are the Rams, who are a perfect example of an extremely top-heavy, talent-wise team. They've got 6 to 8 superstars, some Hall of Famers, right? Donald, Miller.
Yeah. And I mean, and the glaring issue with the Rams is that you go down the depth chart, and if one of those guys get hurt, you have a glorified practice squad player who's going to come in and take that spot because you don't have the money to go out and get that second, third tier talent to back up your all pro players.
And you don't have the picks either because you got them. Some of your picks are in Detroit, some are in Jacksonville, some are now in Denver because you went out and added to your roster.
I don't know if McVay actually ends up making a first round pick in his career as the Rams head coach.
Was the last first round pick for you guys Goff?
Jared Goff.
Oh my God.
Jared Goff.
Yeah, because I remember we're all getting excited for the draft and
I'll
watch the second day. I'll watch the third day.
And that wasn't McVay. That was Fisher.
Wow.
That's a great name from the past. So buy, sell, hold Justin Fields.
Ooh. That's a good one because what happens in Chicago? I think I'm gonna hold. If I got it, I'm gonna hold it. I don't know if I'm gonna go out and really buy a bunch of them, but I think I would hold. Not necessarily sell on him. I wouldn't sell low. I think he's good.
I would be buying. I think they're going to right the ship. I think the guy's got the talent. I think he had everybody. It seemed like Nagy, just everybody, even the fan base was like, this isn't the guy. And he gets put in there with Nagy, with the bad GM and, try to make something out of the season. I think next year they right the ship. They get a good coach. Chicago's got a great fan base for resale if you're looking into something like that. So I'm buying.
All right, Mac Jones.
Ooh, that's one where obviously them being in the playoffs and taking they could make a deep run. You don't see a lot of rookie quarterbacks make a deep run in the playoffs if they do make the playoffs, but if they do, that is one that I would buy and maybe do a quick flip if he wins one playoff game, flip it right away and get out.
I think I'm selling right now. I'm not saying the guy's not going to be the guy. I mean, who knows how long Belichick's going to be there. I think Belichick has a lot to do with his success. And I don't know. It's really, there's so many guys that get to this point. We can point to an RG3 and to an Andrew Luck. They get to this point, they get a playoff game in their rookie season, and they never become better than that.
Andrew Luck was pretty good, dude.
He was pretty good. But it almost seems like if you're looking to sell, it's almost like the best time is that first playoff game.
You could almost sell today and probably buy in March or April, and just the arbitrage game. I'm going to sell just high enough to where I could buy it back. Like we saw with the artificial bumps in the non-Jordan category when. The Last Dance came out, and then you saw the bump with McGuire and Sosa, and everybody's like, "Hey, sell your McGuire collection." And it's like, yeah, I could have sold some of those 87s tops for $5-6 each and bought them back a year later for $1, and I could have, but that's not how you do it.
Yeah, unless we think Mac Jones, I know he's a different style of player. Unless we think he's going to be Mahomes, then you hold and buy. But in my opinion, I think you sell.
I think the strong comparison though is Tom Brady. It's not really
Right.
Mahomes. It's like he's in Belichick's system. He's Brady, and if he's going to be Brady, then you definitely should be buying.
It's only one Brady.
But Belichick's not going to last forever, and so the assumption is it Josh McDaniels who would carry forward that, at least the offensive system, for the majority of Mac Jones' career. I mean, that's the only reason McDaniels hasn't left again. You have to assume that. His. So if you have confidence there, then I mean I would sell in the short term if I'm just looking to play the arbitrage game. But so second round picks, we have only 3. Kyle Trask, Tampa Bay, we haven't really seen anything.
I think that's a hold. It's weird. It's like any team that Brady's on. It's like when he was on the Patriots. I mean, Garoppolo, obviously, and then you had Stidham. You had all these guys. It's like anytime somebody's behind Brady, he's the chosen one. And I don't know enough about Kyle Trask, but his prices seem higher than they really should be just because of that. But I mean, they're not selling for a whole lot, so I don't know. Kick the tires around, see what happens this year. Maybe hold until beginning of next year.
Yeah. I mean, it's a low risk, right? You can probably get his cards for relatively inexpensive, so it's worth the risk to buy.
Yeah, I think he's a little more expensive than he should be. If he was on the Jaguars and he wasn't Trevor Lawrence, I don't think his cards or even get any sort of notability. But it's because he's behind Brady, and supposedly he warmed up with Brady, where there's people buying his cards.
But Brady cannot play forever.
We said that 7 years ago.
Maybe he can. I don't know. Maybe he can.
So a very unique situation here with Kellen Mond or Mond. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Minnesota, because Zimmer's out, Spillman's out. You bring somebody in that doesn't want to deal with Cousins. Maybe they just get rid of Cousins in a trade him to Indianapolis or Cleveland, a team that perhaps wants an upgrade. Does he get the reins next year? It's possible.
Yeah, they got the best, not only the best backup quarterback in the league, but maybe the best quarterback in the league in Sean Mannion. So I think Kellen Mond can just basically bounce. It's the Sean. Kirk Cousins gone. It's the Sean Mannion show.
Yeah, I mean, nobody does have a better mustache than Sean Mannion. So I mean, it is hard for me to pick Kellen Mond, but I think it is a relatively low buy for Kellen Mond. And the guy's got some intangibles, and he's working with Justin Jefferson, who's arguably one of the best in the league, right? So I don't know how long Thielen's contract is, and I don't know how old Thielen's getting, but you definitely got Justin Jefferson there. You got Dalvin Cook, you got Alexander Madison. The weapons are there. So at a relatively low buy-in, you can get contenders or one of these gold standard autos or something, and just wait and see what happens. I think it's definitely worth it.
And then finally, Davis Mills, who kind of had an up and down rookie season. Kind of an interesting. I mean, does he get that job if Watson gets dealt?
Go Stanford fan.
Well, yeah, I was going to put the Stanford helmet on. Just put it on. Just do the rest of the show with it on. Davis Mills, when he came in, little rocky. First, 4 or 5 games is a little tough. But he got the hang of the system. He looked pretty good. And by the end of the year, I was like, could be the guy. He doesn't have the absolute talent that Deshaun Watson has by any means. Very few quarterbacks do. But I think he can definitely be a serviceable quarterback. The Texans are not just a quarterback away from being a playoff team. So he could be a serviceable quarterback for them to build a team around him. In maybe 3-4 years, they hand the reins over to a higher pick.
I wouldn't even look at him because for one, well, I mean, he should stay out of the parlors. That's for one. But for two, I mean, when's any Stanford quarterback have been successful other than John Elway? It doesn't happen. I don't know. He's just not. He doesn't do anything exciting. He's just Davis Mills, man. You're going to regret buying him. I wouldn't buy him. They're going to get somebody else in there.
Got the great Kevin Hogan. The great Trent Edwards.
What's his upside? I mean, is it Joe Flacco? Is it Brad Johnson? Is it Trent Dilfer? I mean, on the right team, could Davis Mills be a Super Bowl
I mean, yeah, you
winning
could give him
quarter-
that Trent Dilfer vibe. I think if you have a really good defense, but I think the Texans are so far away.
Put him up there with.
I mean, he
put him up there
reminds
with
me
Jimmy.
of.
Put him up there with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't sell well either. He reminds me a lot of Tom Savage. You guys remember Tom Savage? I think of Davis Mills. I think Tom Savage.
Wow.
So, but you say Houston's far away, and yes, they weren't that far removed from being competitive. But look at Cincinnati, right? They had the first overall pick, got Joe Burrow, 5th overall pick, Jamar Chase. Now they're hosting a playoff game this week, and probably not the odds-on favorites to make the Super Bowl out of the AFC. But Burrow look what he's done. You know, I mean, he was 3 yards shy of setting a 2-game record for most passing yards. He's done a lot. As long as his pinky finger, I think, on his throwing hand is healthy enough, if they can incorporate Mixon more, perhaps. I mean, that defense is solid. I mean, where's your AFC runaway? Do you trust the Chiefs? You got to put your next paycheck on the Chiefs, on the Titans.
I'm gonna. I mean, this is like the obvious choice, but I think in the NFC, Green Bay, it's going to be tough to knock off Green Bay having to go through Lambeau Field. I know it's been done before. I know Tampa Bay did it last year, but Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind. They have a balanced offense. They run the ball well. They pass the ball. They have a good defense. I'm going Green Bay in the NFC and KC in the AFC.
I was going to ask you in a couple questions too what our Super Bowl predictions were. So might as well ask now, Doug. What's yours? KC and Green Bay has got to be the popular, sexy.
Yeah, right? I mean, not going out on a limb there.
I think I'm going the rematch. I'm going the rematch from 2019, and I think Shanahan gets revenge. The Niners beat the Chiefs, and it's quest for 6. I mean, you got the hottest team going into the playoffs. You did 7 out of the last 9 games. We're down 2-5. 2-5 to start the season. Had crazy injuries last year, and yeah, I think it's a 6th Super Bowl for the Niners. Niners Chiefs.
Good Lord.
But I also, you go back to your question about the AFC. I think people are discounting the Bills. I think the Bills struggled a little bit.
Bills Packers is, but again, I wouldn't put my next paycheck on anybody in the AFC. Feel a lot more comfortable putting them on the Packers. That doesn't discount anything from the Buccaneers, but you know, teams have had a lot of success in Lambeau. It's not the home field advantage that we think it is. Looking at some stats earlier, and you know, but the Packers are considerably better than 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Where the Titans, you cannot make that argument unless Derrick Henry comes out completely healthy. It's just the AFC is going to be a lot more interesting, and we can draw a path to the Bengals getting there theoretically.
Yeah,
and if the Texans trade Deshaun Watson, and Davis Mills turns out to be serviceable, and they can go out and get a couple of players through the draft. You know, a lot of Caserio has signed a lot of veterans on short deals, so theoretically that cap's not going to be that bad. Not like the New Orleans Saints, right, where they're $100 million last year, and now they're minus $60 million this year. Taysom Hill is on I don't know what Taysom Hill has on Sean Payton, but it's got to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And did you guys see that thing floating around? You want to talk about the Bengals? You know, the Bengals have not. No one has ever texted about the Bengals winning a playoff game because they haven't won a playoff game since 1991, and there was no texting around. So
I think there was one about the Raiders last year before, about nobody on Facebook has ever posted about the Raiders in the playoffs.
Yeah. Probably the Cowboys too, right? The Cowboys haven't won a playoff game since forever ago too. I feel they've been there, but I feel like they haven't won one in a while. I could be wrong.
Do you actually? We were talking about it earlier. Do you know the last time that the Niners and Cowboys played in the playoffs?
95.
I think it was I think it's like 90. I think it was like 94. We were talking about it today. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago when the Niners and Cowboys had that rivalry.
Well, it's because we're old now. It just seems like
we're talking 20 years ago.
It's crazy. So it was the 94 season, the year that the Niners won then. I feel like they played them again in 95, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, because then they started that rivalry with Green Bay.
Yeah, true.
In like the mid to late 90s.
So Rich Frank in our YouTube chat says Arizona versus Kansas City. LC Ryan had a couple of things to say. AFC going to be thrillers. Mannion was terrible. I don't know who Mannion is, so I'm going to have to do some Google research. I mean, that's probably going to be like one of those deep internet dives where,
it's our calling cards. What people know us about.
That's like where I say Sean Mannion, and then they're like, "Did you mean like Tom Welling, kind of a thing or something?"
No, I think our name is next to Sean Mannion in the dictionary because that's one of our calling cards.
I think we're actually in his Wikipedia page.
That's what I'm saying.
It goes like, it's all Sean Mannion, drafted in 2015, went to Oregon State, super collectors, Dan and Doug from Mojo Break.
Did you guys frame the restraining order? Can I see it?
We joked about that, but
yeah, I mean, we thought about the conversation of like, come down to the shop and see all these pictures we have of you. I wonder how that would go over.
If that's how you worded it, that'd be fantastic. And then the Santa Clara, police department guys, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's over. It's over.
So before we move on, Micah Parsons was a pleasant hobby surprise this year as a non-quarterback.
Yeah.
Why don't we see more non-quarterbacks? Even the skill positions. I mean, we had a great class with Waddle and Chase, great wide receivers this year. Why don't we see more of these guys, especially hold up into the second years? I know I listened to the hype a long time ago when you guys were talking about Alvin Kamara and some of the other second year, third year running backs. I'm like, that's it. Barkley, you had him the first year and he was great and then done. It's like the hobby just forgot.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a short attention span. And at least with football, I mean, the hobby is really all about quarterbacks. And I don't know when that is going to change. But at least for like the last 5 years, it's been, I mean, the last guy I can think of that everybody was really chasing, Adrian Peterson, was like the guy that everybody was chasing. That was a long time ago. But besides that, think about that. Think about like what non-quarterback was the one who was driving all the products
in the last 13 years. I guess it is AP.
Reggie Bush,
Ezekiel Elliott.
No, it was Dak. Dak was really Dak and Goff and Wentz.
Kareem Hunt in 2017 for like 5 weeks.
For like maybe a month. Yeah. But what, Reggie Bush, whenever he was a rookie.
2006, yeah.
That's even before AP.
Well, I think we need to create, it starts here. I think we need to create a campaign that's defensive skill position too. Like a hashtag, let's create it.
Saquon, I do agree in the chat with Saquon, but Saquon, it seemed like right before the season started, there was a lot of hype, and then it kind of died out. And what year was that? Was that
2018?
That was 18. So
he was the first guy out of the gate.
Baker, and really it was Baker and Saquon, and then later on it was like Lamar Jackson.
Well, I think I have a plan here, guys. What we need to do is we need to buy a lot of Micah Parsons. We need to buy a lot of Bosa. We can start buying some Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor. And then what we got to do is we just got to send them to PWCC or Probstein, and we'll just shill bid them all. We'll shill bid every single one that we bought. And then instead of a card being a $500 auto, it'll be $15,000. And then now people will start caring for the defense, for the wide receiver, because it's like, oh, look at that golden auction. Jamar Chase's 101 sold for $7 million. And then then they'll cream all just, it all falls into place. And this could be a whole just get rich scheme here, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, we could do it.
You may want to reiterate that you're the sarcasm right now.
I was going to say, while we're in jail for shill bidding, we need to write to Micah Parsons and say, hey, listen, the secondary market's really hot. You're welcome. We did,
or get him involved. I mean, he wants to see the value of his auto go up too. So I mean, he can get involved. Buy some of this stuff
for the next 3 to 5. I'm just saying, when eBay sales are really good on because he's got to be selling, right? I mean, everybody's selling these days. Everybody's collecting. Exactly. I saw Matt Leinart the other day was collecting, and I was just Matt who? It's like that's it's like, hey, good for him. I'm glad he found something to do that wasn't quarterbacking. I was so devastated the year that they took Michael Huff and instead of Leinart.
But now you're happy about it, kind of.
But remember, the next year they took Jamarcus Russell. They could have taken Calvin Johnson.
Right.
Taken Leinart the year before, you wouldn't need a quarterback. And assuming that you were still picking that high, you could have taken Calvin Johnson or Adrian Peterson. No.
Very true.
And we followed it up with Jamarcus Russell because Al Davis likes guys that can, run fast, hit hard, and throw the ball.
He probably had the highest 40 time, I'm sure. So it was an easy pick for him.
Ooh.
I went to I sat in the black hole during Russell's, I think, second year, and he was missing his guys just like warming up, and it's like sailing to the side. And I'm like, oh dear, this is going to be a real couple of years. And,
the best was that story that came out that they said they gave him blank tapes, and they said go home and watch the film on this, and he's all, man, that was some great film.
Poor guy.
Didn't even put it in.
Poor guy.
Man.
I mean, he gets a bad rap. He was a great quarterback. If Al Davis was here, we just would have to ask him. That's all. Yeah. Real quick before we get into the actual show, 2021 Bowman Best Wander Franco, true rookie card, PRC, XRC. I mean, Twitter has literally broken. Jack had to pull the plug on it because too many people were arguing.
No, not in my opinion. Not that my opinion matters, but I can't. It's going to take years for me to change my opinion. So if the trend continues, maybe I'll jump on the other side. But for right now, it doesn't have a rookie card logo. I never associated Bowman's Best with rookie cards. I'm floored at the prices of Wander Franco right now. I think it was like a number to 199 base card was over $400. Just insanity. So, I mean, I do have some Bowman's Best, so I guess I'm kind of happy about it in that regard. But not a rookie card to me.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to disagree and argue with you, but I can't on this one. I know. We love that. But, yeah, got to have a rookie card logo for me to believe it's a true rookie. And, again, I reiterate what you said. I don't view the product Bowman's Best as being a rookie card that I would even want anyway. So I think like a Topps Chrome with a rookie card logo on it, sure. Flagship with a rookie card logo on it, absolutely. Bowman's Best, nah, not so much.
Yeah, it's a prospect product.
And if you're buying right now when everybody else is buying, you're doing it wrong. Remember, as the magician is doing the magic in one hand, the real magic is happening over here. So in other words, buy Kellen Mond cards and buy Davis Milk. Don't buy what everybody else is buying. And right now, buy, sell, or trade a Wander Franco Bowman Best cards. Sell right now. All of them. Everyone you got.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, this just in listener mail days. I don't have anything. Although I did, one of our listeners pulled. They were in a mojo break. I don't know if you guys have heard of those, but they were in a break last week of Bowman's Best and pulled a pretty snazzy Vlad Guerrero Jr. Hot Lava or Lava auto out of 50, I think it is. I think it's the one that's like a burning card, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's a redemption, but they're going to share it with us anyway once that gets packed out and gets to their home. It's probably already en route, I imagine, if it was pulled on Friday. But they're pretty excited about it, especially after hearing you guys are on tonight. So
nice.
We will do that once they get it. It's a pretty slick hit.
Yeah, congrats on that one.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, I wish it wasn't a redemption. Love to see those big hits live.
Sure, but I mean it's unfortunately a necessary evil.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We could probably spend a whole show on the great topic of redemptions and why they exist.
Yeah, we've talked about them before. We've talked about the legality of them before. And the good news is, as far as I understand it, Topps goes out of business more or less before the whole Fanatics announcement. And so do your redemptions. Really no legal obligation for them to have to fill those. So the good news is Fanatics comes in. And if you do have outstanding redemptions, those should be filled or eligible for replacement should the day come or should you request. So good news on that front, hopefully.
Isn't that? I mean, are they obligated to fulfill contracts that they didn't create already? I'm just saying hypothetically.
We had actually asked about a lawyer, our buddy James Kukowski, about that some time ago about Blake Bortles. I think it was because he was part of that lawsuit that was going on with redemptions, where they were suing. Is it Panini about the lost value? Well, if you take a year to redeem it or fulfill it, then I've lost value on the secondary market. I'm like, dude, it takes one person like me to get up there and say, cool, you would have sold it same day, right? This listener of ours who gets this Vlad Guerrero Jr. redemption from Mojo Break sells it within the first week because it's live, but because it's a redemption and perhaps you have to wait 6 months to get it filled. Now that value has skyrocketed, and because you didn't sell it as a redemption, are you prepared to write Panini a check now? Or in this case,
exactly. Right.
It's a two-way street. You know, you can cry about lost value all day, but it's a fluid market. Bottom line is, as long as the box says, you're going to get one auto. I'm watching you guys open up some Zenith right now. If it says right there one auto on that box, cool. You get the one auto. It doesn't matter. Redemption, not redemption. Should they list them on the checklist? That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, but we've been talking about that for years, because I think you got guys that will buy the 2017 stuff or the 2016 and try to hit Dak or Luka or whoever just to find out that it's a redemption and it can't get fulfilled. So it's like that information should be available, to somebody that's going to, and then those products typically go up. So it's like, you're buying a, I don't know, 18, 19 National Treasures basketball for 20 grand. And Luka's not, but just say he is, and you hit it, and that's the only reason you bought it, you're going to be pretty bummed out and probably leave the house.
Yeah. And I think the window now is what, 2 years?
2 years. Yeah. 2 years.
So, I mean, if you're looking at 18-19 product, 19-20 product, it's pretty much almost expired.
Yeah.
I mean, the 18-19 is for sure.
You just hit a Debo on Monday night, I think.
I had a Debo
barely expired, right?
Yeah, it was. And what was Debo? 2019.
Yeah,
yeah, it was expired by 3 months. And it was a huge card. It was
it was probably at least $1,000 card.
It was an NT RPA laundry tag. But Panini, in their defense, they don't have to, give you a replacement or honor the redemption. But if you go to their website and you put that code in, 99 out of 100 times it'll process, and they will do everything they can to fulfill that for you.
Yeah. Which is good customer service. I mean, yeah, you guys are business owners. I've owned businesses. I run businesses. It's what you should do legally versus what you should do ethically.
Yep.
Sure.
And if I have a problem with you guys and I come to you and it's something that was out of your hands, let's say you guys packaged everything properly and it got damaged while in transit via the USPS, that's not on you guys as far as, being directly responsible, but it is your responsibility to get it from you to me. So until it's out of your building and into my home, you guys are responsible. And to be able to take care of a customer and say, hey,
yes,
let's what we can do. Okay.
Yep.
When your package got damaged and there was XYZ inside, what can we do? And that's going to bring up a topic here we're going to talk about here in just a little bit, something that happened with Topps this past week. But yeah, again, it just depends on the communication. I understand you can't replace my cards. They have been damaged. But what?
Yeah, and like you're saying, like we do go out of our way to figure out a solution and accommodate when things like that happen. I mean, we ship out thousands of products or thousands of packages a week. So sometimes things do get lost, and sometimes we can't necessarily replace the exact cards, but we do go out of our way to figure out some type of compromise and solution for when it does happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've spoken on this show countless times, not just because we're friends, but because, myself, Shep, we've done business with you guys in the past and had that personal experience. So we can speak from we wouldn't endorse anybody that we haven't dealt with personally. And so, and we've heard other things as well, and sometimes you hear negatives, because people are quick to hop on social media and be negative. Not me.
Mhm.
I want to clarify that. Not me. Some people are very negative by nature.
Yeah, I came here to talk about investing. That's what I came here for.
All right, guys. So the week that was Topps Living last week, week 200, card 481, James McCann, catcher for the Mets, and the awesomeness of card 482. If you haven't seen it, Dave Stewart, pitcher for the A's, gorgeous card by Jared Kelly. I mean, just gorgeous. And I got to see it a couple weeks in advance, and I was just like, oh my goodness. My heart skipped a beat. I mean, when you look at a card, a trading card, it's card. It's cardboard. And you just go, oh my goodness. That one got me. So, and then also releasing last week, Upper Deck AEW, All Elite Wrestling dropped on the 6th. That was the first of what is rumored to be 4 releases throughout this calendar year. And then 2021 Panini Hoops Basketball dropped on the 7th. Hot off the press, new releases this week, Topps Living 201, card 483, Brooks Robinson, third baseman for the Orioles. Card 484, Brandon Belt, first baseman for the Giants.
Coming back.
Oh, actually, he signed. Yeah, that's right. He's back.
Coming back.
Yeah. Do you collect the Living at all, guys?
Bought a few early on, but just didn't have the time. I mean, I look at them every week, and I do agree with you that Dave Stewart card looks fantastic. Probably, if I was in the closet, Dave Stewart would be like one of my guys that I remember. And even though he beat my Giants in '89, it was like one of the guys that I could not hate was Dave Stewart.
A great ambassador, too, for the greater Oakland area. He's been just a phenomenal. I mean, I know he's put together different investment groups to try to keep the A's in Oakland, and wants to be active in tearing down the Oakland Coliseum when the time comes and build community projects there on the property. So Dave has been a huge part of the Oakland Bay Area community. So
absolutely.
Great ambassador and a fantastic card. So pick one up if you haven't had an opportunity yet. The good thing about Living, good thing about baseball cards too, just in general, baseball specifically, is you can collect so much outside of your favorite teams and players. Because, I hate the Giants, but I got Willie Mays in my house.
Mm-hmm.
As a Raider fan, I got no John Elway. Not going to happen. Huge San Antonio Spurs fan. You're not going to catch me with Dirk Nowitzki and LeBron James. Sorry, not going to happen. But you walk down my hallway, you wouldn't know I'm not a Yankee fan because I got Gehrig and Ruth and Mantle hanging on my walls. And I got Willie Mays. And that's okay in baseball because of the sport, the lore, the history, the romance to it. And, just different sport. And so Topps Living is great thing. And I hope it, was disappointed, of course, like most people were. A lot of people were that were collecting the set or parts of the set. And then, of course, the Fanatics, acquisition presumably keeps that going for years, hopefully. So we can continue to enjoy Miyomi Seto's and Jared Kelly's artwork for years in the future. The Topps Living Star Wars is another one. Card 273, Wolavan, Star Wars, The Force Awakens. And card 274, Janus Grigitus, I think is how you pronounce it, Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Longtime show contributor Andrew Renault will probably kill me because I probably butchered both of those names. But, hey, it's whatever. They're deep canon characters. So, and then Topps Throwback Thursday started fresh for 2022. This is available through tomorrow morning. Set number 1 in the style of 1983 football. Card number 1, Aaron Judge. Card 2, Shohei Ohtani with a short print variation. And card 3, Cal Ripken Jr. As far as major releases go this week, Panini Mosaic Football dropped today. $700 a box, 10 packs per box, 15 cards per pack. 300 card base set. You'll get 2 autos, 5 silver parallels, 15 mosaic parallels, 20 inserts. So enjoy. That's really the only thing major that's coming out. Although Topps did release what I'm assuming is the next version of last year's Muhammad Ali set. This year they're doing 2022 Elvis Presley, the King of Rock and Roll. The first 3 cards dropped this week, so get those if that's something a little pricey. Really good looking cards though. So cool. I'm assuming it'll probably run for the majority of the year. 3 cards probably drop every week, so probably about 150 card set, give or take. And then coming out today's 2021 Upper Deck Marvel Annual Trading Cards. And on Friday, Panini National Treasures Racing. So real quick, guys, I was just curious as I was looking up like Panini Mosaic. I watch, your guys' stuff quite regularly. I've got it on in the house. It's always fun to see the new products, whether I buy it or not, football, basketball, just to kind of see what's coming out.
Mhm.
And on the show, it's nice background just to have cards being open, especially if it's a brand new product dropping that you guys are opening.
Mhm.
Conrad, a lot of times, brand new product just drops today, already knows what the hits are. Do you guys, study those checklists before you go on and make sure you guys know what you're looking for? Because you guys do the boom. Hey, if I pull a 101, if I'm coming to work for you guys, I pull a 101. Cool. I get it. It's 101.
Mhm.
But some of the kabooms and things are well-known inserts, the downtowns. But what about the ones that are brand new from Flux and One and some of the other newer products that maybe only have 1 or 2 years? How do you guys?
I think it's just getting the feedback from the collectors before we start the breaks. We'd like in a perfect world to have a checklist, but unfortunately, sometimes there's not a checklist available for that product even on release day. But just kind of surfing around on Instagram and seeing what people like. If it's a set that's already been out, Mosaic, I don't think they add anything new this year. So obviously, and you're going after the Mac Joneses and the Trevor Lawrences, and those are going to be the ones that everybody is going to want to get excited about. And just knowing our community, who they're excited about, and really emphasizing those big hits of those players.
Yeah, I mean, they did add I don't know if it's a short print, but it's a Hall of Fame die cut.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that was the one thing that they did add. But I mean, there's a sell sheet out, so I think we all kind of do our due diligence to go through the sell sheet and just try to get an idea if they did add anything new to a product, or if there is any like super short prints that we should be looking for while we're opening it up. So that all that information is readily available.
Okay, because I've broken in the past. I was affiliated with a local LCS 8 years ago now. We tried to get their, breaking was still, I was saying its infancy, but it was a lot more immature, back in 2014 than it is today. But, it's always impressive when a new product comes out and you already know what to look for, because if you've ever listened to this show, you know how many times we've bitched about the lack of a checklist, and as a breaker, when you're breaking it and Ben's buying the A's in a break that you guys are having tonight, I have no idea what I'm looking for, because, whether or not I should even be buying my team. Topps Chrome Update came out, Topps Chrome Update has Mitch Moreland, and
wow.
It's got a Matt Olson insert and a Ricky Henderson, Mark McGuire insert. Guess what? I'm not getting into a break for you guys to perhaps pull me a Mitch Moreland. And maybe you guys aren't going to do Topps Chrome Update because, it's I believe it's a retail product, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
But
it'd probably go in like a mixer, but it wouldn't be by itself for sure.
Yeah, the idea being I'm not, I'll go get the 4 cards out of that checklist I need and move on. Bowman's Best, another one. There's only the Matt Chapman base and a couple of autos, But if you're not an auto chaser, but yeah, it's got to be kind of tough when you guys are breaking. Autos are autos, relics are relics, but it's the, the refractors, the short prints, the fathead super short prints where maybe you look at it and go, hey, this card's different from Update.
Yeah.
But
a good example is Kumar Rocker being in Elite Extra Edition. We knew he was going to be in the set, but we're like, New York didn't draft him, even though they technically drafted him. He's not. He went back. He's going to be a holdout for a year because he failed a physical. So we're like, well, who do we give that to? Well, if it doesn't say anything on the card, it's going to be random through all, right? Because he's not affiliated. He hasn't been drafted yet. But Panini actually put New York on the card. So that solved that. But we had to have an internal conversation before that product came out saying, who does Kumar Rocker go to? Because, if you're the owner of the Mets, you're going to be like, that's my card. Because, of course, you're going to want to win that card. But, if you're everybody else, you're going to be like, well, no, that's not fair. So those kind of things we need to be prepared for ahead of time. Because if you don't have a game plan ahead of time, if you don't announce it ahead of time before the break, then there's a lot of uncertainty and everybody has a stake. Everybody has a reason to say it's their card.
Yeah, I remember National Treasures in 2012, I think it was 2013, perhaps. I forget which player it was. One of the Philadelphia A's. Obviously, he's going to be listed as Philadelphia. Spent the majority of his career with the Phillies, but won the Triple Crown with the A's. And the hit in there and checklists were a lot different close to 10 years ago, but it just said Philadelphia, and it's like, but it was an A's card because it was
Al Simmons, maybe?
Al Simmons, perhaps. I want to say Eddie Collins, but that's not right. And the thing with it was, if you pulled that card, it was to honor the Triple Crown or the batting title or whatever it was specifically. If you look at his stats, it had to do with the year and the single year he played with the A's.
Right.
And so it's very convoluted, and I don't, envy breakers that have to dissect checklists that aren't very specific, where it's just,
Well, remember that one we just had that one with it was Panini Spectra Baseball. Albert Pujols on the front of the card in a red uniform, jersey piece, red uniform, back of the card, blue Los Angeles. And it was a Dodgers card, but we had already named it to the Angels because
it looked like an Angels card.
It looked exactly like an Angels card. So luckily it was a number to 99 and it was a $5 to $10 card. So we just wound up replacing the one. So both guys got it, but that's a unique scenario where you have a Los Angeles team and you can't put a team name on the card, and it could be either one. You don't run across that too often, but that was one that was a little tricky.
You can download from Panini's website directly. You can download for baseball. At least you used to be able to. I haven't done it for a while. You can download the Excel file, and they'll have associated teams with it. Like on the side, you can scroll down. It'll have like Reggie Jackson, Oakland A's. Sometimes. Yeah.
But back in 2012, it would just say, National Treasure. It would just say Los Angeles and Philadelphia, which is great if you can decipher the two, But in a lot of people, you have that problem even today with Panini Diamond Kings. You'll have people that won't give you the Philadelphia Athletics because the assumption is it was a Phillies card. Because
you got to be in the know. I mean, and you're dealing with New York too, with could be even New York Giants, right? Yeah. So you've got New York Mets, New York Giants, New York Yankees,
Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs. I mean, we've been dealing with this for forever,
and even St. Louis Browns, which would be the Orioles, right? So you're dealing with St. Louis, and there's very few St. Louis Browns players, but there is one I think that pops up every once and again. That goes to the Orioles, not the Cardinals.
How about the Washington Senators?
Yep, there's two different
two different ones. You got the
different affiliations. Yeah,
you got the Twins, and then you have the brief
Rangers.
Washington Senators that turned into the Rangers.
Have you guys ever seen the Enos Cantor card that Dub Mentality owns? That's like it's a Boston Celtics jersey. He's wearing Boston, but the patch is from the Portland Trail Blazers, and the card is like a Utah Jazz or something. It's like represented, and
that's hilarious.
It's like the greatest card ever. It's like it's one we all should have to own in our collection because the confusion of
it sums it up.
Yeah. I remember pulling a Shaq card.
I was just gonna say, you read my mind.
That it was the same exact thing. It was like him in like a Heat jersey with like a Magic patch and a Lakers card.
Love it. The best McFarlane ever made is the Ricky Henderson A's, where he's
right behind Dan.
Where it's got all the different helmets in it.
Yeah, Dan has it right behind him.
Yeah, I've got my
shelf there, buddy.
That is by far the greatest action figure. It's the greatest Barbie doll of all time.
Yep, had to have it when I seen it.
Yeah, when I saw it, I hugged it, and I'm like, "This is it. This is the starting lineup on steroids that I've always wanted."
Yeah, and, it was really cool. I mean, it's the only A's piece you'll see up there because it's really cool.
I open all of mine. They're all on a shelf in my bedroom. That is the only one that's not open because I know I'll lose all the hats.
Oh yeah, they'll be gone. Dog will have it.
All right, Doug. Can you name all 9 teams?
Oh geez, Padres, Yankees, A's, Blue Jays. How many have I named now? 5?
4.
Let's just say 5.
Did you get the
Dodgers?
Mets? The Mariners?
Mets. Oh,
Mariners,
right?
Mets.
Yeah.
And I think I'm out of them now.
Red Sox.
Oh, Angels, right?
Angels.
Yeah. California Angels, right? The old logo, the Halo logo. Angels in the outfield hat, right?
The Angels in the outfield era. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was his jersey number? Pre-1985?
It wasn't 24 then.
Was he not 24?
No, he was a Yankee, became the number 24. So when he came back to Oakland in 89, he adopted the 24, but now
Was
he's
it 30?
35.
18.
35.
35.
Nice.
That's right. That's right.
35.
Nice.
So interesting. Yeah. So what's brewing next week, guys? Nothing. That's it. There's nothing right now on the calendar next week. So
Sweet.
at least major stuff. There's probably like Pokemon or historic autos or something like that. So the Infield Chatter Hobby Talk section, Ryan Cracknell via Beckett released his top 21 sports cards of 2021. I'm not going to read them all because I don't want to trump his article. You should go check it out because it's got pictures and a description. Some of the ones, though, that were on his list, the 2020 Topps Now Bernie Sanders card that sold like 93,000 copies. The 2021 Topps Update, the aforementioned Big Head SSP of Fernando Tatis. I think there was also Guerrero and a couple of them.
Otani, yeah.
Yeah, one too. And then the 2021 Topps Now Call Up Wander Franco. I don't know, because I think he had quite a few of them too. I think like 6 or 8 Topps Now cards, if I'm not mistaken. The 2021 Panini National Treasures Jason Alexander Seinfeld relic that never came from Seinfeld. One of the coolest. We're tough on Leaf here on the show, but him bringing back Pro Set was awesome. So kudos to Brian Gray for that. 2021 Pro Set Trevor Lawrence made the list. The 2021 Upper Deck Young Guns Kaprizov made the list. The 2021 Project 70 Ronald Acuna Jr. by Alex Pardee, which is one of the coolest. Ricky Henderson drops tomorrow.
That's the alien-looking one, right?
Yep, with teeth.
Nice.
Yeah. Party's been a phenomenal addition to the hobby at large. Hopefully next year he gets a standalone release like some of the other Project 2020 and 70 artists have had. And then the 2021 Absolute Kaboom Mac Jones. So you go check out the complete article for the full top 21 of 21 and make sure to leave a comment for Ryan with any omissions or you thought he should have made his list. I'm sure he'll enjoy that and that interaction, or you can always hit him up at Trader Cracks on Twitter and let him know what some of your favorites were. You guys have any personal favorites from last year?
Dan?
We were talking about it again earlier today. The 2020 National Treasures Justin Herbert patch auto. Really, really sharp design. I know it's 2020, but it came out in 2021. But I would say that, and the as far as the Project 70, the one that I really liked was the Nintendo Duck Hunt cartridge Randy Johnson of Blowing Up the Bird. I don't remember the artist, but an amazing card. Probably one of my favorite Project 70 cards.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. That was a really cool looking card. I think F1 needs to get some love. I found myself not knowing anything about F1, and then all of a sudden watching the Netflix documentary and just watching Lewis Hamilton's cards go for crazy. So I think the Sapphire Chrome version of the Lewis Hamilton has kind of signified my 2020, and just seeing that kind of come from the ashes and coming to where it is now. And then some of the downtown designs that they've had. I know they've had it every year, but downtown always is a cool card. As long as they're not, copywriting an artist, but like some of the other stuff where you see with the seal or whatever signifying the city is very cool.
Yeah. Downtown would be a fantastic set to put together if it wouldn't cost you your firstborn child.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was mentioning the other day how I wouldn't mind having the Kaboom Mark McGuire, but it's a card. And so I can't justify that on my personal collection at that cost. And really, it's a glorified. I mean, it's really not that good. The Kabooms are not that great. But downtown, the artwork, again, if it's not being stolen like the Justin Herbert was, it's appropriated. They are really phenomenal. It's really cool to see the Guardians in Cleveland on the Baker Mayfield card, and and Tua's card, you have that underwater look, almost like an Aquaman type look because of the dolphin, and it's really fun to see how they incorporate the team mascot and perhaps even the city in some cases. Speaking of Project 70, shame on you, shame on me, shame on all of us. Lauren Taylor on Facebook she's been one of the most accessible and engaging artists from the entire program, perhaps 2020 as well. She's been phenomenal. She apparently got quite a bit of negative feedback for the Willie Mays that she did. Willie's sitting in the dugout in his wool jersey, and it kind of curls. I'm wearing your guys' t-shirt, right, Mojo? But if I'm leaning back, it might scrunch to where you can't see all of the letters. And from what I gathered, what she had to say is she got a lot of negative feedback because in her artist rendering of the card, it was missing letters across his chest, namely an S and an O as part of San Francisco. It's exactly in the photo what's going on with his jersey because, again, it's kind of scrunched up, so you can't read the entire name. She cited the source photo and the wool jersey, was told it was folded, hiding some of the lettering. So the P70 rendering was in line with the source photo. She mentioned that, and then she further basically quoted herself and said, you know what, I'm not going to respond to any negative feedback anymore. If you want to say something polite and compliment, fine, but enough's enough.
So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now, and I really, God, people need to get a life. Jeez.
I don't know what on. Said. I mean, first off, she's a human being.
Right.
She's a lady. She's an artist. We shouldn't be so negative on her for something. And what I gathered, and I could be mistaken, was it had something to do with her inability to spell San Francisco. Was where a lot of that negative feedback was coming from. And it's like, first off, it's art. So if she wants to spell it upside down, backwards, if she wants to spell it in an archaic form of a language that we don't know, hieroglyphics, whatever, it's art.
Right.
Project 2020, if you guys remember, the Mariano Rivera, the first rendering of that Bowman had him as a left-handed pitcher. And people are like, oh my God. And it's like, it's art. What if they wanted to put octopus arms on him? Look at Alex.
Exactly. Look at the famous Ichiro from the first year, Yeah,
it's whatever, man. It's just like, we shouldn't be attacking one of these artists. I've been critical on New York Nico, but that's because he wasn't doing his own artwork. His girlfriend was, and she wasn't getting any recognition on the card as being a part of it. But it's not attack somebody if that's what's going on, to the fact where she feels like she has to go onto Facebook and defend herself, and it's just nonsense. And it wouldn't matter if a guy or a woman or otherwise. It's like, stop. You can handle it with tact if you are upset. Hey guys, I didn't like what you did with my cards when you packaged them up. This is how they came. Here's pictures. As opposed to saying that, screw the two of you guys. It's all about how to communicate. And
exactly,
it's not attack her for her inability to spell a word when I'm sure she clearly can.
You can see the fold in the jersey anyway, so I don't know what people are seeing.
Look at the photo. It's like literally. So, speaking of Project 70, Topps sent out a notice to collectors that cards 748 through 779 will be delayed with an estimated ship date of January 28th. I'm going to go ahead and assume we're going to have to buckle up for a rough 2022 as far as delays, whether they be supply chain related or otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had Jason Mashura from Upper Deck on a few weeks back, and he said, we had to cancel stuff and we're going to have to push. And he goes, that's just the way it is, because it's probably going to last for a year or two.
Yep. Yeah. We've gotten in a situation where we pre-sell and, it's like, oh, now it's not coming out. So, so we're trying to be mindful of that on our end and really pay attention to when these actual products have shipped, and we've got a shipping notification from the distributor that's going to be in. And so that way we can sell it and, not have to issue people refunds or make them wait to when it does come out. Upper Deck has been notorious for it's coming out in April. Oh, no, wait, it's coming out in December. So it's 6 months and we've had customers where we're like, look, we want to give you your money now. And they're like, no, I want to hold the team. And you're like, okay. And then they message you next week. When's it coming out? Told you it's coming out in December. Okay. Would you like a refund? No, I'd like to hold my team. Then the next week, hey, when's this coming out? So we try to avoid those situations for everybody involved.
But again, it's all about communication. And we're hypercritical on Topps and have been, but hey, I'd much rather you tell me you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks for this series of cards. If you bought one within this window, I'm waiting on a Blue Moon Odom. I don't know if it falls in that category or not. Just tell me. I'm okay waiting. Just let me know. That's all.
Yep. Exactly.
It's customer service 101, and it's not even 101. It's customer service 100. I mean, it's just communication will solve close to 100% of the problems. People don't want to be ignored. If I know it's coming, I'm okay waiting. And if there is onus on that on the buyers as well. I should know the release calendar. If I'm buying with you or any other breaker and it's a pre-sale and I'm anticipating it coming out Friday the 14th and it gets pushed back to the 28th, I should probably know that as well.
Yeah.
It's your job to communicate, but at the same time, it's my job as well to understand what the release calendar is and how delicate it is right now as well. So,
yeah, and there's a lot of resources out there, like major online retailers that blow out and they update their calendar hourly sometimes. So, if you're like, hey, I don't know why I bought this and now it's not breaking, I would check their calendar, see what they have. But yeah, you're right. You can usually find it out on the internet or just send us an email. We'll be able to correspond as well.
Sure. Yeah. And doing your own due diligence in if you can in anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll help mitigate some of it before you go to the source, and that's not always going to be the case. We don't know how backed up Amazon and Walmart, et cetera, are, but you might save yourself the headache of having to call and wait online. And, I had an issue at work a while back where I was waiting on a check and they sent me, something from the 7th of November and the 28th, but I was missing the 14th and the 21st. And I was on the phone with an insurance company for hours. Then I checked the mail and the checks were there. And I'm like, had I been able to check the mail and then made the phone call, that phone call wouldn't have had to happen. So
exactly. Save some time.
So from the world of auctions, this one's a little funny, but it's really not. In Project 2020, this came via T and Tops. Heritage Auction Sports has a Project 2020 Mike Trout gold border 1/1 by Blake Jameson and Ben Baller. They had it listed with a starting bid of $500, right? No big deal. PSA graded it. It's a PSA 8. No big deal. There's only one problem, though. If you flip the card over, it's a Bobzilla 1/1 ACO custom where Bobzilla, other artists have taken to creating their own 1/1s. I have one of myself hanging on the wall. Somebody took the Ken Griffey Jr. Shore and put my face on it. Shep has one. A lot of people have had fun with these. Right on the back, it says 1/1 Bobzilla. And they're being sold as the legitimate 1/1 from Tops. And it was graded as such. So There was no mention of it being the Bobzilla 1/1. Since then, Heritage Auction Sports has pulled it down. PSA responded to T and Tops saying that they are looking into it to see what they can do. I mean, we've talked about grading and it being shady and shenanigans and scam-like. And it's like, we've seen facsimile autos, we've seen altered autos, we've seen trimmed cards being graded as authentic, etc. A lot of this I get can pass the naked eye, but literally you got the card here and it's like, oh, hey, that's the 1/1. You turn it over and go, hey, that's an ACO. It literally says it on the back. Maybe it should have been graded as a Bobzilla 1/1. And you're telling me
no time. They got no time to look at the back, man.
They don't. They only have 20
2 seconds. Like 2 seconds. Gotta catch up. Gotta catch up on those $10 ones.
I mean, good for Heritage Auction Sports for taking it down.
Yeah.
PSA needs to pull it out of their registry because the 1/1 gold has now not been graded. I mean, it's really hard when they're like, hey, give me $150 and I'll grade your card. And then they pull crap like this. And then it's like, why should I give you my money? There are other grading companies out there. I'll be more than happy. I'll be the first one to come off my stance of grading being a scam as soon as the industry, that portion of the industry is 100% transparent.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah, that's just bad. Just turn the dang card over. I wish I could share pictures, but I can't because I'm not as cool as Steph and I can't figure it out. So Onyx announces a product partnership with CSG Cards via Onyx_authentic. They will partner to create a very limited slabbed baseball product. This will be a first for Onyx, something similar perhaps to what we've seen with Leaf, where they buy products and pre-slabbed products and sell them that way.
One graded card a box or something like that.
Yeah, there's no timetable for the release date other than coming soon, which came from the tweet. The product will be called Onyx Gems. Onyx has been around for years. Why don't we really... There's no noticeable market share that I can tell. They used to sponsor the Cardboard Connection back in the day, which was, 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. They've been around for a long time. Why are they not? I mean, right? I got Pepsi and Coke, and I got, Ford and Dodge and Toyota. I've got Topps and Panini and Upper Deck, and then sometimes Leaf will make its way in there. But why don't we ever hear Onyx? I mean,
they're staying in their lane, I guess.
I mean, you have a lot of those like Onyx and Sage. Sage is still a company. They make unlicensed, generally football product. I mean, Historic Autographs makes product as well. TriStar, they do memorabilia products. Onyx. When you think of Onyx, Doug, what do you think of?
Baseball prospects.
So do I. That's the first thing I go to.
The collaboration they did with that other company that did the soccer cards. What's that? Futera. They did a Futera baseball product.
But yeah, I think of them as a non-licensed. Some of them really good-looking cards, really clean designs, but select baseball product prospects. They don't do a huge checklist a lot of the times. They do they'll pick 20 or 30 prospects and then have different short prints and base versions of those autos.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna have Matt Peak on from Parkside Cards next week. So yeah, sweet. That's another, But yeah, Onyx has been around for a long time. Yeah, and I know you have Cryptozoic and Rittenhouse, which deal with entertainment cards and non-sports. And some have been phenomenal. I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, and Rittenhouse has had those for years. And I begged George Nadal before he passed away. He worked for Cryptozoic. I'm like, come on, we need to do the Office cards. What will it take? I will be your partner in this. I will, take pictures of my TV if that's what it takes, and we can make Office. I'll print them out of my garage, just like Brian Gray does in his garage. He can be successful. And every time I say something good about Brian, I have to say something negative to offset it. It's like the balance of power.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Space-time continuum. I can't say two things about him nice in the same show. My head hurts. So more from Topps Fanatics via Pick Mitch. He was waiting for his shipment of 2021 All-Star Rookie Cup, which to me was an awesome late surprise in the calendar. I mean, that was a good product.
We still got to open ours. So we got a couple boxes.
Yeah, we got a couple boxes.
For personal or for breaking?
I think we might do a YouTube video on one, but then we have another. It was just, I think we both have a Montgomery, so we have two, one each.
Because I'm still looking for some super low numbered Cansecos and McGuires, but
okay, yeah.
Let you know.
So he opened his box from Topps, and the All-Star Rookie Cup box was already opened inside. And some other cards that were in the order were thrown around. Some cards were missing. This is not a knock on Topps. Full disclaimer, this is not a Topps issue. This is a whoever they ship through, which in this case was FedEx, according to my notes. Had been shipped.
I think it's FedEx.
Someone en route opened the box and opened the packs. So I'm glad I have got you guys on, because this is really a perfect question for you. I packaged up a couple things for eBay earlier, and I clipped off the part that says shipped by eBay, if there's ever any affiliation. Obviously somebody, presumably at FedEx, knew what was in these, recognized Topps's name, and opened up the package and, stole.
Yep.
We know that PSA, with the amount of money that they ship, if it's saying PSA, I mean, it's going to say Mojo Break.
It doesn't anymore. We've ran into that same issue. There was a hub. This was a couple years ago. There was a hub that I think it was in Memphis, that like 7 or 8 of our FedEx packages had been opened, and then just shipped empty back to the customer. And it used to say, our labels used to say Mojo Break on it. It doesn't say that anymore. So it either says, I think it has my initials, and that's it.
Yeah, there's some of them that have like your initials on it. Some of them have my initials, and then some of them have just MB. Is like
Hopefully we don't have any FedEx workers listening currently. So,
but hey, if you do, let us know what shippers can do, because if we can limit what it says on the outside, if we can limit it from saying Mojo Break,
I could, and we've had this conversation. I could recommend probably not doing this, and I know from a marketing standpoint, it seems like a great idea, but if you're a breaker, probably not getting branded boxes that have your logo and name on it and using those to ship. We talked about doing that, and then we sat there and we're like, do we really want to advertise like what is in the box?
Right.
And how much is that really going to benefit us if it just goes through a bunch of different like carriers' hands? Like, are they really going to see the logo and be like, I'm going to check this out? Like, you're just kind of asking for somebody to open up the package.
Well, I've worn your shirt to the grocery store and had somebody ask me before what that means.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you guys got a new customer out of it. I think they were just
right.
What the hell Mojo Break means. And when I try to explain it, they're like, yeah, okay. What a weirdo.
Right.
I got collects baseball cards. I remember when those used to be worth something. I mean, I had the other day, I was wearing my Upper Deck sweatshirt at work, and somebody's like, what's Upper Deck? And I'm like, I've worked with you for 2 years and told you I have a podcast every Wednesday night. What do you mean, what is Upper Deck? Had you ever watched you know what? I wrote a book, and I thought, at Christmas time for the Secret Santa or the White Elephant, I'm going to put my book and see who really likes me.
Reads it, right?
As they're choosing not to go home with that. Like, that's the oven mitt nobody wants to get, the old maid card nobody wants to get stuck with. But who are you advertising to? If I buy from you and it comes in a beautiful, first off, you had to buy the box that says Mojo Break on it. Who are you advertising to? Me? I'm already your customer.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just, I know I bought something on eBay. I don't need the package on the outside to say eBay. When I open it up and find out that Dan sent me the card and Doug sent me my Elsa plush doll, cool.
Right.
It's mine. I have it now. I can leave feedback if it arrives safely. But we should always
Scotch tape all over the top loader, just literally wrapped around it.
You know me. I got invest that tape on the top loader. Yeah. This is sad to see, and hopefully Topps takes care of Mitch in this case. He's a good collector, but at the same time, let's limit what we put on the outside and how we communicate with people that aren't.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Regardless of whether or not I sell stuff on eBay that's not card related, and I don't need anybody other than who I'm sending it to, and they'll get it. It'll be there safely. I need it to be there safely. I've had cards, I've had PWE sliced open as well, and let's just limit it. That way this doesn't happen. It's unfortunate. So the shit you see on Facebook, eBay, all of them, this came via Hobby Almighty. A seller was trying to sell his 2017 score rookie auto of Pat Mahomes. It was a BGS 910. According to KG, Hobby Almighty, he said the seller was trying to sell this card in a local Kansas City Facebook marketplace for about $500,000 last year. Newsflash, it did not sell. Now he's on eBay trying to get the same $500,000. KG suggests that this card is around a $2,000 card, but the seller notes in his listing that this card is the Holy Grail. Can we stop?
They always are
calling it the Holy Grail.
They always are.
Yeah, I don't call it a Holy Grail. I have came to something in my wiser years of collecting. I've stopped saying anything about anybody's price anymore. If it's just ridiculous, I move on. Now, I know this is a very, very, very ridiculous price, but then you start getting guys that you're asking prices, and they're bashing your price. It's just people can't contain the difference between a ridiculous price and the right price. So they just price bash everybody. So I've just resorted, and that's my public PSA, is if somebody's selling a card that I want and it's 10 times the amount that the market is, I just move on. That's it. Don't say anything.
You're such a nice boy. You really are.
I don't have the time to do it. I don't have the energy to fight with somebody. And maybe somebody will be willing to pay that amount. And I don't want to crap on a man's potential income.
And I think you deal with this a lot more than I do because you're in a bunch more groups than I am. So you see a lot of that bickering back and forth almost on every potential listing that somebody puts up. Instead of people being like, oh, that's a nice card. It's like, your price is wrong. Your price is wrong. And then you just get like this argument. And you're just like, well, who has time to want to sit here and do this?
Me,
Ben does.
That's when I start cracking the neck and the knuckles and like, oh, hell yes. My boss is like, are you going to lunch today? No, come on. Somebody's wrong on the internet. Ben needs
I'm sitting here. Yep, exactly.
So another fun seller to avoid on eBay. Perhaps, maybe you like this. eBay seller Cove Collectible is selling homemade one-of-ones for those who can't afford the real thing.
Oh.
These one-of-ones are being sold for $2.50 each. It's like Donruss base, $3.50 to ship, so you can get a one-of-one for $6 plus tax. Each card is gold foil stamped with the letters FF/1-of-1, which is going to stand for Fan Faves 1-of-1. His eBay description says Fan Faves stamp products are an aftermarket stamp applied to each card for those who would like a 1-of-1 collectible but do not want to pay huge pricing for their favorite players. So honestly, this is not that much different than all the buyback crap Topps does for their own products.
Well, I like that they're not doing an auction. I have a real big problem with people that do the auction on fake cards because then somebody spends $5,000 on a LeBron 0304 or SP Authentic Auto that's not real and they think it's real because they ran it as an auction. So I know it's probably obviously copyright infringement that this guy's doing, but at least he's being honest about it and he's not trying to price gouge. Well, maybe he is price gouging at that price, but at least he's not letting the auction run up.
Yeah,
I give it a thumbs down. I don't like that. I mean, it especially like you're saying with Topps doing so much like archives, buybacks, and they stamp the cards. Like, how do you know the difference?
Right.
Like,
right.
As like the average collector.
This is the problem with ACO cards is Ben buys it from Cove Collectible. I buy this 1-of-1 Fan Fave Sean Mannion card. Okay. It clearly in the description said exactly what it was. I knew what I was getting for my $6 plus tax.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then I have it and I'm like, hey, Dan, guess what? I got a Sean Mannion 1-of-1.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what? I don't have that 1-of-1. Where did it come from? It came from the internet. It's legitimate. Now
you're like, yeah, and you're like, and I'm all, how much you want for it? And you're like $200, and I'm like, great. I'm like, I love it. I don't have that card yet.
I could see where it gets tricky.
Now you have a homemade, and hey, I've bought ACO cards. I bought a really beautiful Dave Henderson that was handmade. I know people like Tanner Jones and stuff will make one for you, whether it's kid related. We had a guy named Omar on last year that makes 1-of-1s. I can send a picture, one of my kids' T-shirts and a picture of my son Bentley, and hey, encapsulate this card for me, and I'll give you $50, and you'll make this beautiful homemade card. But I'm not going to go sell my card of my son Jonathan over to you guys. But
right, exactly,
like a trim card, you can do whatever the hell you want to cards at home. There's nothing wrong with trimming a card. The problem is when you sell it.
Yep.
Now becomes the issue. And it's not even if you don't disclose it that first time, because I told Doug, I said, this card is trimmed. But the second he gets it, if he doesn't disclose that, or God forbid something happens to one of us, we pass away, how is our post-mortem plan, parents, spouses, children, how do they know?
Right.
Now this card gets in the speculation. This FF 1 of 1 can't find it on a checklist, but it's a 1 of 1. It's stamped. So buy it.
And then people start comparing the prices to a Topps 101, and they're like,
Yep.
it's got to be a $10,000 card.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of shenanigans that can go on with that. So this one was funny. Speaking of eBay, Hype Train Cards shared this. An eBay buyer bought a 2021 Absolute, wait for it, Davis Mills teal rookie card for $7. He then saw that they were selling for $3 to $4. His bad, right? So he messages the seller saying, "Hey, I way overpaid for this card. They're selling for $3 to $4, and I paid $7. Can you issue a refund of $3? And all is good, please and thank you." At least he uses manners.
He did.
Well, I'd like to claim the depreciation of my card too. Now that it's been a year since I bought it, I want to get that money back. But no, can't do that. Kick off eBay. They need to kick people off that ask that. Done.
Yeah,
Can't buy anymore.
My first thought was this Dan? Like, hey, I'm buying this Davis Mills, but I realized he played for Stanford and sucks. So
Pretty much, yeah.
It was me.
really should have got 2 cards for like $7. You know, I'll take the $3, throw in a second one. I'll take 2 teal cards. I'll corner the market. I will be the Davis Mills teal rookie card super PCer investor.
You are reading my mind.
Okay.
And
Just
the
so
problem I have with people like that is they don't value their time as opposed to how much money. I mean, for $3, he had to type out all of that. And is that really worth $3 for you? Could have been doing something else.
But again, I mean, where's the accountability, right? He chose to make that purchase. Nobody was like, you have to buy my card for $7.
Exactly.
He's probably like, "Hold on, Mom, I know the pizza rolls are ready, but hey, wait, I got to get my $3 back." Yeah, come on.
Exactly.
We all have overpaid. Do the right thing. Just swallow the $3 and move on.
Yep.
So this came up earlier today. I guess it happened yesterday. There's a guy on Twitter named DrewCards_. His real name is Andrew Chapin, and he found himself in some hot water. And this is what happens sometimes when you venture deep into murky waters or you try to diversify yourself, and perhaps you shouldn't. He's been in the hobby for a while. There was an issue, I believe this was with this guy, so I apologize if I'm speaking out of line, but on his website, he had a coupon that was for singles only, and somebody went on there, was able to buy like Bowman Draft or something with it at half price. And so he canceled the orders. This happened like last year, and kind of went on Twitter and told on himself. He's like, "I'm sorry I had to cancel it, but that coupon wasn't supposed to work." Things happen. E-commerce sites can go haywire. Okay.
I get it.
Last year, he says he established a relationship with his LCS and distributor to resell sealed wax, which would be the third markup before it lands in the hands of the consumer most likely to open it. The assumption being you have your manufacturer, distributor, now Drew being number 3. So you've got 30% markups every step of the way. As one would expect, though, it took just one product for Drew to screw himself. His LCS distributor couldn't allocate Bowman Draft Super Jumbo to him. So in turn, all of his customers he had already pre-sold to got shorted, causing Drew to scramble to buy product at a loss to fill orders or just cancel. He did turn some of his customers over to Steel City. Says, "Hey, I got a contact. Might be able to sell you some product at the price that you paid through me or get close to it." Unfortunately, Steel City's like, "Hey, sorry, that pricing is specific for, bigger customers, LCSs, breakers. I can't just give that to the retail side for regular customers. Sorry." Steel City didn't do anything wrong. They got perhaps a handful of people that this guy Drew had turned over to him, and he's like, "Can't do it. I mean, just can't."
Right.
This is not the first time this guy has had issues, and this perhaps speaks volumes to staying in your own lane. Maybe you shouldn't go this way. So you had a lot of pissed off people on Twitter, and I don't know if it's Discord or Reddit, but apparently some people started sharing some Bay Area news articles about the fact that this guy was a CEO of a digital media company and was found guilty of $8 million in fraud. And
oh my God.
3 years in prison.
Jeez.
And so there are a lot of San Francisco Bay Area news outlets that are reporting on this. So this is not just, secondhand speculation. the stuff with the boxes and the coupons and all that stuff perhaps could be secondhand information.
Mhm.
So apparently what he did as far as the fraud goes, because now, your reputation, if I'm going to do business with you guys and you have something like this in your background, I would like to know who I'm doing business with.
Absolutely.
Apparently he was going for a $5 million loan, and in order to show his books, he was creating false books. Basically, the idea behind it is if a website had excess stock, clearance stock, instead of going directly, you click the link and go to their website and have to check out there, you could check out through him as the intermediary. So you could buy directly from his company, not having to go to, say, Walmart.com and complete the checkout, which helps if you don't have, registration, login information for all of these third-party websites.
Right.
So he was creating false accounts receivable, saying he had contracts with different websites that he didn't. Essentially, what this is called cooking the books.
I was going to say maybe a quick loan too, right?
Yeah, false revenues. I mean, you're going to go to a bank and you're going to show false revenues, and they're going to say, okay, hey, you know what? Based on what you're showing me, you guys are worth, X amount of dollars. Here's your $5 million loan. So he got caught with his pants down. He was sentenced in November of 2021, according to the news articles. He apologized for whatever that's worth on Twitter. It says once he's done with his 3-year prison sentence, he's going to hopefully open an LCS. Your reputation is all you have. And our hobby community is small. And, I feel bad that in a way that this guy's personal life got intertwined with his hobby life. But unfortunately, that happens with all of us. We put ourselves out there. All 3 of us are content creators. I have About the Cards. You guys have the hype. You guys have your breaking business. Steph and I have this presence. And, just caveat emptor. Just be careful. Buyer beware. You
got to be able to sleep at night too. If you ever do anybody wrong, I mean, we've been doing this business for over 10 years now. And, if I did anybody wrong, just morally, I just would not be able to face the next day. You know what I mean? It's just about upholding character and treating everybody the same way. And, not trying to make a quick buck. The money follows with good business. It's not all about 100% penny pinching and making all that money. Right. And unfortunately, there's characters like this that get in here, and it's not about the customer. It's about the quick buck, and that's what's going to happen to his reputation.
You sleep well at night because you got good customer service. Yet you're a Giants and a 49ers fan. That is so contradictory.
Hey, there's good 49er fans. They will disagree, but I mean, it's just because he's a little butthurt that the half of SoFi was 49er fans, and Stafford claimed that he had to go on a silent count in his own stadium, and that's why they lost.
So, cool story.
Yeah.
Cool story.
Truck's not going to kick the crap out of you guys this weekend.
Hey, if you get the good Prescott, it's going to be tough. No,
so much is your reputation, and that's at the end of the day, all we have. It's just handshake. It's we all try to foster relationships, and sometimes on social media things happen. This guy had some personal issues that got pulled into a hobby related one, and rightly so. I mean, you got popped for fraud. That's a fact. What you were doing in boxes was not fraud. You didn't get allocated, and some people got screwed buying it at one price.
It's just still like, I guess maybe because, we've been doing it for so long, we'll never sell something that we don't 100% know that we're going to have. We've never done that ever. You know what I mean?
And we've had people like contact us and they're like, when are you going to put up so-and-so product for pre-sale? I want to buy a box. And we're like, we don't know how much we're going to get. So like, I don't want to have to sell you something and then not have it. So like, we just need to wait and figure out what we're going to get in the way of allocation. And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot. We've actually pre-sold cases on eBay of a product that's hard for us to get because it seemed like a good deal. And we pre-sold it 3 months before it came out. And then guess what? Day comes out, it's supposed to come out, and the guy didn't get it. He gives us a refund.
Yeah.
So there's so many guys on eBay that do that. And I feel like they use it as a quick loan or to pay a past bill. And maybe they're just getting deeper into a hole, but it's terrible.
Well, and there's a difference between I'm going to buy my Montgomery Club exclusive product and I'm going to sell it to you guys, and I'm going to pay Topps X and you guys are going to give me Y, and that money hits my account from you guys before my money really clears my account to them. But the bottom line is we know we're going to get it from Topps. We don't necessarily know exactly the day we're going to get it. I mean, the Mego dolls. My dad and I were talking about that. We've talked about that for months now, and that whole disaster of people were online already pre-selling these $20 dolls for $70-$80, and it's like,
jeez,
that's bad because you just don't know. And there's even a disclaimer that say that Topps reserves the right to cancel these orders if they don't get enough.
Mm-hmm.
And once you fall outside that 30-day window for eBay, you might not be able to get your money back as a buyer. And
exactly
all the disaster that happened with pre-sales with Project 2020, where 6 people were pre-selling the same exact card, and then Topps couldn't fulfill their orders in times. And, one big pre-seller paid a severe price with his reputation too, because he couldn't fulfill orders in time. And luckily he's still around and it looks like he's rebounded, but it's precarious there for a while for him.
Mm-hmm.
And, his rep really suffered, and we all bought from him. So it was like, sucks because we consider the guy a friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This one product was his downfall. And so, hey, if you know Drew, if you've done business with him, good for you. Hey, we're just here to report what kind of came across the hobby timelines yesterday. And it's unfortunate, and hopefully he pays his penance and pays his restitution, and that part of his life can be resolved. So we wish him the best as far as, and hopefully he learned a lesson.
Yep.
But one last thing real quick, guys. This was interesting. The shit you see on eBay, Facebook, politics and cards via J-Rod Cards. This happened a couple weeks back. He said he had a guy claim some cards from him. The guy then DM'd him asking his political affiliation, stating that he would only buy the cards from J-Rod if J-Rod, said he was part of a specific political party. J-Rod, of course, refused to partake, rightly so, and the buyer blocked him accordingly. I mean,
wow.
We all try to keep politics in our personal opinions as far as that separated from the hobby, but to literally say, listen, guys, what is your political affiliation? Because I won't break with you if you guys don't agree with me politically or religiously, or what's your favorite donut? Where does it stop? Oh my God, you don't like maple donuts?
Old fashioned.
White coconut.
Old fashioned.
You look like
I mean, we've made that a point to never even bring it up and nip it in the bud if it comes up in the chat, because we feel like our place is an escape from that.
Absolutely.
And people come in and everybody has different beliefs. Everybody's from different areas. Everybody's, at times there's people from different countries, but we're all in here rooting on the case or rooting on whatever we're doing. And we're all binded by that. So once we start talking about stuff that divides us, it never turns out right.
Yeah, and I'll reiterate that. Like, we are in a hobby. Hobby's supposed to be enjoyable and fun. And you get into hobbies to escape from all the other BS that you're dealing with, political stuff, personal stuff, whatnot. Like, you use it as an outlet. So there's really no room for it.
But in a couple of weeks, we are going to have a guy who works in the political sector in Ohio on our show. His name is Adam Headley, and it was featured in the Associated Press. The Ohio State Legislature released a 99 card or 90 card trading card of all the Ohio legislatures. And he got them all signed. And he thought it would be really cool. Now, granted, he works in that, so I'm sure, in whatever Capitol building he works in, you could probably get a good chunk of them right away. And that's what the article alluded to. But he collects political memorabilia. And so this is kind of crosses what he collects with what we collect in our hobby. And the fact he was able to get them all autographed is pretty neat. And
that's really cool.
That's cool.
We invited him on to see if we can, find out who are some of the harder. Yeah, I mean, Ohio's not a huge state. I mean, imagine us here in California trying to do something like that. First off, it'd be like a 400 card set.
Yeah.
I'd have to go to you guys and say, hey, are there any way you guys can go get some of the the legislature people, the city council members in the Bay Area for me, and I couldn't do it on my own.
Yeah.
Right.
We'd have to borrow each other's geographic area. Hey, I'm going to send you these 12 cards. Can you help? So just to be able to say, I'm going to do this, and then go out and do it and execute it. And so, yeah, it'll be, it's not really politics, even though it is. And try to do
Cool.
our
That's
best.
very cool. Yeah.
Leave the political side out of it as much as humanly possible, considering. But any final thoughts, guys, before we get out of here?
No,
I
just
been a great
appreciate.
show.
Been a great show. Appreciate you having us on. Got to get you on the hype. We're gonna do it. Got to get you over here.
Whenever you guys are free, I would love it.
We'll do it.
Absolutely. We'll do it. we're gonna be redesigning the studio here soon. So it'll look. We're getting it all ready for you.
I appreciate that. I will wear my Sunday best, which is my other t-shirt. So, March and April is wide open right now. Anybody out there listening that wants to come on, you guys also, if you guys want to talk and choose a night, either together or separate, we're open to having you guys on. Love having both of you guys on. It's fantastic.
Definitely. This was great.
A lot of good insight from a different part of the hobby that not everybody always gets to see and talk to. I appreciate your transparency and honesty. And go Cowboys. And
go Cowboys.
Oh, Jesus.
I hate saying that.
How about them Cowboys?
How about go Raiders? Let's do it. Let's see the Raiders beat the Bengals.
Let's see
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Nice.
I'm fine with that.
They're going to get smoked.
And go Cardinals.
Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 Central on YouTube. You can make sure to subscribe and review on our show on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. You can follow me at Our Trading Cards. You can follow Steph at Junk Wax Twins. And once again, we definitely want to make sure that Steph is in our thoughts and prayers. Guys, where can we find you?
You can find us at mojobreak.com for your breaks. Our shop and our ship sealed wax site is mojobreakshop.com. So if you don't want to get no break, you just want the box yourself, you can go to mojobreakshop.com, mojobreak_com on Twitter and Instagram for all the happenings.
What he said.
Okay. So please share your hobby stories, great pulls, send your questions our way, keep collecting. And I got to get the show out. Good night, guys.